Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 146 of the I Rock Knits podcast. And look who's back.
Hello.
Thank heavens. We have the Cable King here with us today, and he is going to share some of his favorite cabled knits and some of his favorite colorwork sweaters with us today. This is my friend Matt McCauley. Many of you will know him as Multi-Crafty Guy on Instagram and Ravelry. Yep.
Every place.
Yeah.
Yeah, every place that I can be at, I am at.
Yeah. Matt is an amazing knitter and a great friend. He's been in my knitting group for...
Oh, God, we did the math once before.
Yeah, we did. We met at ZK at the birthday party. So it's maybe been 10 years, 10 years that we've traveled together quite a bit. For anybody who's new, Matt has been on 3 times before or twice?
Three or 4 times. I can't remember.
Before.
Sweaters.
I always have him sharing sweaters because he does beautiful men's sweaters, and a lot of times we don't see that on the podcast. So it's really nice to have him here today. I will tell you that I just enabled him by taking him to a yarn store in the west side of the Twin Cities, out in the country, that is full of yarn.
Full. Bags of yarn.
Everywhere, like to the ceiling.
Yep.
Under the stairs. In the front. You can't even get to the desk before you've stopped to look at all the tchotchkes.
Not even enough room to bend over and look at what's on the bottom shelf. Because it's so tightly
full.
Packed.
Buttons, books,
Tons of
bags,
buttons.
samples.
Needle sets. If you ever need a needle set, she's got them all.
Yep. So it's called Silver Creek Cabin, and it is in Buffalo, Minnesota. And if you want to take a trip from the west side of the Twin Cities, if you're about halfway up the cities, it's maybe a half an hour. Yeah. But from Matt's house, it's quite far.
About an hour. From
my house, it's quite a trek. He came here first, dropped his stuff, and then we met our friend Renee. Because it's my birthday. Yep. So happy birthday. I put on my birthday sweater. Yeah. It's kind of a confetti sweater, so it kind of looks like cake.
Went out for tacos.
Then we went for tacos afterwards. So I've had a great day. I turned 63 today. I think I was born at 3:30 in the afternoon.
And it's almost...
Oh my gosh, it's 3:43. So anyway, 63 years old. That feels old this time. Usually birthdays... When I turned 30, that bothered me. I don't know why, but at the time it felt like, oh, gosh, I'm really getting into that. And then now it's not, I don't feel old, but the number 63 seems like, wow. Because I think it's closer to retirement, that retirement age thing, and getting my senior citizen card and all that.
AARP is calling.
Right, all those things. So anyway, I had just a wonderful morning. Matt came here, and now we're going to record this afternoon. We're going to talk about a whole pile of sweaters. He came in with a huge IKEA bag. Yep. Matt is a kitchen designer and is in charge of the kitchen department at IKEA. And so, and you've been there for...
I will celebrate 20 years at IKEA in August of this year.
Wow.
20 years. Yeah. Wow. It was only my second real job out of grad school. Yeah. And, it's one of those things. You get in there and you don't think you're going to stay. And then next thing you check, it's 5 years and then 10 years and now 20 years. Yeah. It's like, holy cow. Yeah. Been through a lot of stuff there. So
yeah, you certainly have. Yeah. But the company does provide pretty good benefits and some things that you have enjoyed. You've taken trips.
Yeah,
with them.
I've gone to Sweden. I've gone to several different places here in the U.S. They allow me to take a ton of vacation, which included a month off between December and January to go to Hawaii. So, I can't complain that much about the fact. Yeah,
I mean, it is still, you still have retail hours. Yep. And you have to work weekends.
Still have to deal with people.
Yep.
Which is fine for the most part. But, you get that one person who just... stays in your mind for a long time. Yeah.
So Matt is an introvert, but he's gotten used to coming here now and just chatting with me. He knows I'll fill in all the gaps with all the words.
There will be no silence here. No silence.
So we had a great morning. Yeah, I spent quite a bit, and so did you. Did Renee.
Yeah, no, I got a sweater's quantity of Malabrigo to make something with. I will add it to all my other sweaters quantities.
But you got a color that you don't have.
Correct.
You got a kind of a denim-y blue, and it wasn't navy. No. And, none of those, that darker blue. And there was so much to choose from. Like,
so much.
And she has some very inexpensive yarns. We saw a lot of wool for $7 and $8.
Yeah, she has a lot of brown sheep.
Yep.
And then she has a lot of Malabrigo.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots of Malabrigo. And
she had Dream in Color, Knitted Wit,
Earth.
a ton of Earth in the front of the shop.
Largest selection that I've seen any place.
Of that Earth yarns. Yep. And then under the stairway, there's so much. Well, I think that's a stairway because it's slanted, but it feels like you're going into a little room.
It all feels like you're in a
all
little room.
fingering weight and lace weight in that room.
And then she has a lot of baby yarn, lots and lots of baby yarn.
Yeah. So I bought 2 sweaters quantities.
Yeah.
And just put them on the charge card of my husband for my birthday.
Yep. Birthday money.
Yep.
Birthday money.
So yeah, we had a great time. We just got back here and.
Yeah, I didn't expect to buy a sweater's quantity of yarn, but then once I saw it, I was like, oh. And she gave us, great discount.
Yeah. So I've been there twice this month with groups of people, and so she remembered and she said, "You're Cori, and thanks for bringing people." And I said, "You are a ways out, but she does a really good job buying. She's got just beautiful colors and lots of samples." And I asked her if she knit them, and she said yes. Yep. And then she said she feels bad selling people yarn because she knows that they all have so much at home. And she said, she made the comment that it's like giving alcohol to an alcoholic or a drunk.
Absolutely.
Right? Didn't she say something like that? Like, she feels bad. She even told one lady that she wouldn't sell her any more yarn because she never knew, came back. And the lady never came back because she just felt like she had bought so much from her. And her husband said, "You have to sell yarn to everyone."
The point of business. Yeah, no, I would definitely recommend anybody in the cities to at least venture out there once.
Yeah, I know that she would like to sell the shop. Her husband has passed away, and it's getting to be a lot, and I can understand but she knows where everything is in there.
Absolutely.
Like I said, "Do you have some more Rowan felted tweed?" "Yep, come right back here."
Yeah, there's a whole, they're just bags stacked to the top. And that's what I did was I just grabbed the entire bag and was like, this is what I want. Yeah, yeah. So. And
she's very talkative and very nice today and gave us a very nice discount on all of our stuff.
Well,
and she couldn't find the price tag on my little needle stoppers, and she's like, "So you're just getting this for free?" And I was like, "This is not how you're supposed to do business, right?"
But no, she's very nice. So yeah, I would definitely recommend venturing out that way. She's not in the shop hop.
Yeah. I don't think people know about her. No. I really don't. Silver Creek Cabin, beads, pieces of felt, handles for purses.
Any needle set that you've ever desired is sitting in that building right now.
And needle cases for your needles. And some of the sets came with cases, but then she's got needle cases. And
if you have old yarn and you're looking for one more skein, she's probably got it. She probably does.
It feels, this is going to sound terrible, it feels junky in a sense, too full, but it's not dirty.
No.
Right? It didn't feel dusty. The yarn doesn't feel like it could have moth. I don't want you to think that. It's just full.
A lot of stuff. Yeah, I don't think she could fit another thing in there, really. No. There's no more space for shelving, nothing.
Yeah.
But
fiber. She's got a lot of fiber in the very, very back.
So Brown Sheep Company sells roving also, and she buys that roving by the pound, and then she sells it out by the ounces. But don't pick your own stuff because she'll charge you double.
There's a sign. On the sign. She has people reach in to take out what they want, and then she said you have to get help. It's
not the thing. Yeah, no, because she has to weigh it. So.
Yeah. Anyway, so we had a great morning.
Yes, it was a fun morning.
Yeah. All right. Matt's going to show us some. What are you going to start with?
So we're going to start with what really got me into cables. And there's a cowl here and a hat. So this is the Candlewick hat. So it's a cabled hat. It's knit flat back and forth. And then you do a 3-needle bind off in the back. And I did it with the contrast color that I used for my top tie. And you can actually wear it as a cowl or as a hat. So I couldn't find this on my Ravelry page. I'm pretty sure it's called the Candlewick hat, but you can actually open this up here, and now you have a cowl.
Oh, it's so pretty.
And it was one of the first things
it's gray, but it's pretty.
I cabled without a cable needle, so that's where, I mean, this is cashmere and wool. I got it from a friend of ours that was offloading all of her stash. So I can't remember what company this is, but it was really nice to work with. Is it
meant to have this as another color? Like, is that how the pattern?
I think on the pattern he had gray, and I think the top was red.
Okay, yeah.
It's supposed to be that little flash of color.
That's what I remember
on it.
Too.
You do eyelet holes throughout the top here. So if you didn't want to do it as a possibility of having it as a hat, you could just do it as a cowl and just knit just as the same as the bottom on the top. But it's fun to wear. It's very, very slouchy. And you just tie, and I love to knit an I-cord. But yeah, and then it just goes on, and it's nice, and it's a slouchy hat.
Oh yeah, and you have a very large head.
And
We've talked about it.
Very large melon.
So you have trouble finding stuff that would fit.
Yeah, and
your
it's
head
just,
sometimes.
It's nice. It took 2 skeins to knit this thing because it is so wide long when you knit it flat. But one of the things, this was one of my gateway drugs into the cabling world.
There it is.
Do you find it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did it in different colors.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a $3 pattern on Ravelry.
So it's by John Brinegar? I don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also designed a colorwork hat that I loved, and I can't remember what the name of that one is, but I knit probably 10 of them. Orange Crush. A lot of his models are without clothing. That's just the way he does stuff.
Here, I'll hold that.
I think
first
that one might have been mine.
So yeah, that's what he means by without clothing. They're not.
Yep.
They're not showing anything that.
No. But yeah, he designs. I want to say he was going through nursing school.
Okay.
When he designed the Orange Crush, and he just wanted something to help him pay for nursing school.
Oh.
So, and that one is only $1. So, and it was just fun to knit. It's a cute little snowflake motif on it, and I actually made it into a cowl too for a coworker that was moving to Seattle. And what I did was I think I just added one more repeat onto it and just kept the bottom and then just repeated the bottom on the top of the ribbing.
Oh, okay.
So it turned out to be really cute.
Yeah.
And then this right here is the Moose River. This is an oldie. Stephen West designed this in one of his books before he went off the deep end with the craziness that he was doing. So
yeah, because his early stuff was plainer and
it was
more simple.
Yeah, so this has some honeycomb stitches on it, some cables up the top. I do believe even when I knit this, I used a cable needle because I was afraid of it.
Show it again. Start over.
Honeycomb. There's the honeycomb stitch, and then just a nice little cable there, some texture. It's great in the winter time when you just have.
Oh yeah, look at how warm
and you can.
We'll tell you guys that it snowed here this morning.
Yep,
it was snowing sideways for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We get those weird squalls that come through, and we didn't have Matt and I didn't. I left my coat in my car. And Renee drove, and then you just wore your sweater, and so but then we got cold. We were like, oh, this would have been perfect because you can kind of pull it up around your ears if you need to.
Yeah, you can go all crazy with it.
Yeah.
But this has seen a lot of wear. It was 3 skeins of Malabrigo. But yeah, we've had all 4 seasons this week. Yeah. It was 80 on Saturday, and then it got cooler and cooler and cooler, and then it snowed. Now it's supposed to get warm again. So.
Oh, we had rain.
Yeah, we had rain.
Just tons of rain. Several inches.
Yep.
I think. Yeah.
Still lots of rain. We needed rain. We need it.
Yes, we do. It filled up my backyard we have a little low spot where it kind of runs off down into the pond over there. And it was really squishy with water, and Chevy was like, "What is this?" He run through it. Yeah,
perfect thing for your dog to run through.
Yeah, no, crazy. So. Got his whole bottom half is wet. Okay, let's talk about what you're wearing.
All right, this is the Hugo sweater. Hugo was designed by Veronik Avery. It's a piece together sweater. This one here I knit out a piece fleece. So it's a little bit heavier weight, but I did knit it at the gauge that was required. Really enjoyed knitting this sweater. It was one of my first pieced together pieces. So there's
like texture all the way around the whole sleeve. Yep.
Texture, there's a little trellis pattern up the top.
Does that go into the shoulder? No, it's okay.
Nope, it's a... Yep. And then it's across the front here with a couple of the horn-shaped cables.
Yep.
I'm showing you way down there and you can't actually see it. But it's just a comfortable sweater. It's got a split collar on it. I put a little button on it. Never ever want to button that up. I just cook in it. But it was a really fun sweater to knit. Knit in 4 pieces, sewn together. Lots of fun. It's part of the Brooklyn Tweed collection. So that's where the majority, it's either going to be Brooklyn Tweed or Hudson and West.
Yeah, you look so nice in dark red. It's really a nice color on you. You have a couple things that are in that kind of tone.
Yeah.
This definitely has some purple in it. Like there's purple undertones. It's not showing up on the can you hold it really close, do you think? And see if they can not really.
Not really.
No, the lights are kind of blowing it out, but
yeah.
Oh, there you go. Now you can kind of see some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Piece Fleece. So Harrisville Designs runs Piece Fleece, I think only once a year. It's the flock from the Navajo tribe mixed with their flock of mohair. So it's like 85% wool, 15% mohair.
Okay.
So it is a warm wool. And
but with that wind today,
yeah, it didn't go through that well. But there is veggie matter in it. The little chunks of hay. Yeah. Sometimes you find a little stick in it. But yeah, I like it.
You don't mind it next to skin. Like the lady at the yarn shop asked you, "Is it itchy?" And you were like, "No,
not for me." No. So I told her, come on up and
touch it. Yeah,
touch it. See what you think of it.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah, it's
lovely.
I like it. Yeah. It's just got some character to it.
Were you worried about doing the neck like that for your heat and stuff? Like, did you consider, because you don't have other sweaters that have that kind of neck, I don't think, really.
I have a cowl neck sweater at home. And then there's a shawl collar coming up here. Okay. This is a turtleneck.
Right.
Not quite a full turtleneck, but.
Let's talk. Can they see?
Really
yeah,
nice.
They can.
Oh yeah,
There's
you can see it all.
Yeah.
So this one here is the Vika. Again, designed by Veronik Avery.
I think it's Veronik.
Something like that.
I think it's weird, but yes. Different for us to pronounce.
Yep.
But it's not Veronica. Just,
yes.
Yeah.
This is knit out of Cascade.
Oh.
In their Galaxy colorway. It's amazing how much crap I remember.
Yes, I was going to say.
But yeah, this here, pieced together, 4 pieces, went together really, really quick. And I think part of it is the rhythm that she creates with this detail through here. It's just a little, there's a little pearl bump every couple of rows. And it just keeps you on track with where you're at in the pattern.
Oh, so you count how many rows up.
Yeah. It was a wonderful, the sweater that I'm knitting on now also has a similar idea, but it's spread further apart.
That's really cool. I might have to do that in something sometime.
And I remember I was knitting this at Yarn Over in Carson Demmer's ergonomic class with my Knitter's Pride dark purple needles, because that was the color of the size that I needed for the gauge. And one of the first things that he says when we're doing this class is, you should never have needles that match the color of your yarn because it's just too dark then. I was like, well, I should get on the horn with Knitter's Pride and tell him don't color the needle out color because I'm trying to knit. But it's a drop shoulder. It has the same detail on the sleeve, but the sleeve gets mounted right here so that you can see that the texture pattern just comes all the way over.
Yeah.
Same pattern on the front and on the back. Collar is really nice too, because even though it's a turtleneck, when I roll it over, I often worry about the laziness of me not wanting to shave at all, rubbing away the yarn. But on this, it hasn't had any damage
anywhere
yet.
Yeah,
So,
nice.
But Cascade is like that. It collects dog hair though, lots of dog hair, because we got a second dog this past summer, and she sheds like crazy.
And Boo didn't?
He shed, but nowhere near, like he shed twice a year.
Okay.
And Blue sheds every day. I could brush her.
Well, people might not know that you've come into a second dog. So now you have two. You had a coworker that passed away.
Yep. A friend of mine, and she was actually a coworker of mine for 7 years. She passed away. She had cancer. And nobody would take her dog. So as soon as I found that out, I was like, immediately, it's like, bring her over. Never met her. Bring her over. We'll get her fitting into my house. And she has fit in like a dream.
Yeah.
She actually takes care of Boo because he's 13 going on 14. So he needs some extra help when he needs to go outside. She makes sure that we know that he needs to go out and stuff. And now they sleep in the same bed together.
So one is named Boo. And then when she came, she was named Blue. So it isn't something that they did when they named them. It's just that's the name she came with. And so they have a Boo and a Blue.
And a Boo and a Blue. It really makes it hard at the vet's office. Or when I'm going to Costco to get their prescriptions, because they're like, is it Blue or Boo? And if you don't say it right, sometimes you miss it. And I'm like, Boo. Like Boo in Halloween,
Yeah.
And stuff. But yeah, she's a lover. Boo has never been a cuddly dog, but she is. She'll get up there and she will lay down with you and not let you go.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So.
Okay, let's try another one.
So.
All right, now we have green.
Green. I have a blue, green, or red. That's pretty much the colors that I knit in. So I do have a couple of brown ones at home though too. So this is Awen by Megan Babin. She is one part of Hudson and West. This is knit out of Harrisville, Highland worsted. So it's a very tweedy looking yarn. You can definitely see some yellow pops in spots.
How is this different? This is Harrisville, but it's different than the sweater,
piece fleece.
The piece fleece. So what is this called?
This is Highland.
Okay.
It is.
It doesn't have the mohair in it.
It doesn't have the mohair in it, and it's not specifically bred by the Navajo.
Got it. Okay.
On the Navajo Nation there. This is just. I'm guessing it's American wool.
Yep.
But yeah, so it is a little softer. It's a little thinner too.
Okay.
So this sweater here, again, knit in pieces. I like to have, piece sweaters are nice because you can carry it easily. You can do the front and then you can do the back. You can do the sleeves together is how I always do it. And it looks like I'm knitting little pants at work.
But this one has a folded neck.
Folded neck,
yeah. You can see that. Stands up really nicely.
The cable pattern is really fun with the fact that it does look like antlers in there, and then you get a little cable twist going on. You get the cables out here and the line side by side. They're not triggers. Yeah. They're like.
Oh, I just knit this something like this when I did the my May shawl.
It's almost like a braid over.
Yes, it is like a braid. It's like a crossed braid instead of it being. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
The cool part that she does when she designs these sweaters, because I've knit a lot of her sweaters.
Stuff. Yeah.
Because she does do cables very, very nice, is that she does a detail, so you can probably see it on this side a little better.
Yep, on my head.
Where you join the sleeve and the body, you get a nice knit row to detail it. And the same thing happens on the side here, right here. So it just adds another little element to it. And
it's almost like she puts the finishing in for you.
Yes.
Like there's a finished quality to it, but she helps you attain that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's really cool.
So, yeah. And it's a slip stitch on the edge. This sweater here has a little extra breathing space here. I just noticed it when I was packing it away. I used the same yarn, which is a woolen spun yarn, to seam it. And it broke. This is the first time that I've actually had that happen when I've done a woolen sweater.
Yeah. It probably just had a little skinny spot.
Extra,
yeah.
Yeah, and it got tugged a little bit. It might have been one of those spots where I had done the seaming of it and ran out of yarn and had to put a new piece of yarn in there to do the seaming.
Yeah.
No
one would have seen it if you wouldn't have said anything, because
he
just knows he has to fix it.
Yep, I have to fix it. And what I'll do is I'll just get some regular fingering weight in a green that has some nylon in it and fix that up, and it won't come apart again.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
And you'll see it. So, yeah.
Oh, this one is just stunning.
I love this sweater.
Yeah, it really is pretty.
Her patterns fit really well, too. I don't know what it is about the way that she does it, but yeah, I've never had any complaints about the fitting of the sweaters.
Let's show this little detail. We'll tip it. See how that comes right up.
Yeah, right
all the way up into and then she's got this finishing raglan kind of look. I mean, it's just stunning. I don't even know how you design something like that for all the sizes. It's incredible.
She's
really good at what she does. Really good.
Yeah. So.
All right. I need to invest in a bigger, wider, broader shouldered mannequin. We put matte sweaters on and it doesn't quite have the look, right? We need a
chest on this.
Yes, we need a bigger, this is a male mannequin, but it's a tiny one. I got it years ago.
Did you get this at Needlework Unlimited when they were going out?
Yeah. So it's just not big enough. So it just doesn't do this. This is one of my favorites because of the way that this comes in. I just think that would be stunning on a woman's frame as well, where you could just make it shorter and this would just be so flattering.
Yeah, this was a fun one. You've just got, it's really simple, just cable stitches going up. This is beautiful
with that I-cord around it. What is this called?
This is Jackson.
Okay.
By
Hudson and West, but know the...
I think it might have been a design by Sloan on the Hudson and West side.
We'll just
look. Find out. Oh, Megan Babin. Yes, so I have a thing for her patterns. Yeah, I've got a couple of other ones in my queue of hers. I was just getting ready for this in the car. I was just going through all the sweaters that I have in my queue. And I have about enough sweaters quantities to do them all. 21 pages of sweaters.
So this is completely ribbed.
Yep. The back and the sleeves are completely ribbed. And then the front has the cable design on it.
Are you crossing this over a ribbed pattern in the back? That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah, it is. It's ribbed in the back.
Okay.
And then the cables come out. Again, Cascade 220 in like garnet heather. I always knit in the heathers in Cascade because I think that they're actually in general for me softer. And then it's very economical. Yeah. You can't beat the price of $11 a skein or $10 a skein. Yeah. So it works out really well. First sweater that I did with an I-cord bind off in the garter edge worked out really nice. Let's tip it again. So
it's really pretty up close.
Yeah.
Can you see how this has this I-cord edge on it? Oh, it's just lovely.
At first I was worried when I was making it that the neck hole was so big, but then I realized, I don't read a pattern any further than where I need to be right now.
As do we all.
So
read the whole pattern through before you start.
Is there an audiobook version for that?
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, it was just, it's a really comfortable sweater. The back is completely ribbed. So like there's no worrying about fit back here. It just, it cinches itself in a little bit where it needs to. Yeah.
You are a tall drink of water.
I am tall.
This is really long. The ribbing
knitting
makes it look even more vertical, so it, you know, it goes just down to here. It's not, but boy, you are tall.
And it's funny because when I knit the front, she has you knit it so long because your front actually comes over your shoulder and your seam for your back is on the back part of your shoulder. So there's no seam up at the top to have to worry about. Now I gotta get you to turn around. There we go. So yeah, you knit literally from the front all the way back to here, and then your back starts. So.
Once again, the mannequin is too small. What's this called?
This is Timberline by Jared Flood. It is a cabler's dream come true. It looks really, really complicated because when you see the back, it's cables all around. But the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that it's this cable repeat 3 times on the back. So once you get this down, you're fine going through it, and it's just one cable repeat on the front side. So it looks really complicated.
And it's the same one down the
on
sleeve.
The sleeves.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I don't know. And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, I need to cast this on. This is Lucky Tweed.
Oh, nice.
In their dark blue colorway. Don't know what the name of it is in dark blue. It has buttonholes on it.
I want to say maybe it's navy.
Yeah,
maybe it's called navy. It's like their stuff is kind of named the color. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did put buttonholes on it, but we were just talking earlier, and I don't think I'm ever going to put buttons on it because it's warm. It is a woolen spun tweed that is thick and thin, but it's primarily pretty thick.
It's so amazing, Matt. Do you always cable without a cable needle?
No, yeah. I think there was one thing that I was knitting on that I actually needed a cable needle for because it was 8
so many
cross.
Yep.
But yeah, otherwise it's just no cable needle. Once you learn that, that's like the gateway to getting into all these cables.
Yeah. Do you find that because you knit left-handed and backwards that it is, and if you don't know that, Matt is a lefty and he learned how to knit kind of mirror image to someone, and so he reverses all of his patterns and all of his increases and decreases and whatever, which is why he loves a chart, and which is makes this kind of knitting so much better for him because he doesn't have to work as hard, right? But do you think it's easier for you because you're crossing the cable differently than a righty? Would that make any difference? Probably not.
No. My left-leaning cables and right-leaning cables is just making sure that I get them in the right spot.
Yep.
Otherwise,
so you're just putting in the front and the back, or the back and the front. Yep. And that totally makes sense.
I like the cable charts because then I just start from the left side and work my way to the right side, as opposed to going the opposite way that I would read something, which never made sense to me anyways.
I know. When I teach pattern classes and talk to knitters, I say, now remember, you're doing it the opposite way that you read. Is weird.
Whereas I don't.
I know.
When I read a pattern that has all written
a chart, you don't read sentences backwards. You read charts in the opposite direction, which I think everyone would have known, but it just all of a sudden dawned on me that, you were saying we were talking about reading books this way, so.
So I go through, and if it's a written pattern, I struggle. A sweater naturally is going to have a lot of written stuff on it, but then a chart on it, I don't struggle so much because I know how to make my way through those, and a lot of times it's just mirroring the same thing left and right. So I just need to keep in mind that written pattern, a left-leaning increase is a right-leaning increase in my world, and vice versa. So I like a pattern. I mean, a chart.
Yeah.
That is the way that I prefer to knit. But I learned how to knit from a lady way back now, almost 20 years ago, had 2 YouTube videos up. And one of them was how to knit left-handed, and one was how to purl left-handed. And I watched that, and everything just clicked. I had tried and tried and tried to learn how to knit outside of these 2 videos, and I just couldn't get it.
Do you remember who that was?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And like at the time I didn't save those videos.
No.
I've gone back to find them.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to find them.
Yeah.
But at the time it was just 2 videos that she had, and it just changed the way that I looked at life.
Yeah. Wow.
So
did this take twice as long as like a normal sweater because it had such a shawl collar and so much more cabling? Because it's longer than you would normally make one, and you know, I just think it would be a little bit. I mean, this part's not too difficult. That's ribbed, but
it didn't take me too much longer. But what it did was it took 3 extra skeins of yarn that I did not have, so I had to order 3 extra skeins of this.
Lucky
because
tweed.
This ribbing collar actually took up 2 skeins itself. Actually, a little bit more than 2 skeins. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, because it's really long.
I had started it once and wanted to do it all as one piece, because I was like, well, why? The sleeves are knit in the round, and I wanted to knit the sleeves flat and seam them together. And it was, you know, the start of COVID and everything, and it was just way too much for me to handle. So I put it aside, and then I decided couple of years ago that I would just start it and do it the way that the pattern said. Yeah. And it worked out.
Yeah. But you couldn't do your sleeves 2 at a time because they were in the round. That's right. Yeah. Matt knits all of his socks 2 at a time and toe up. And so putting your sleeves on is just, it's like doing a big sock, right?
I think, well, actually, now that I think of it, I think I did most of this 2 at a time, but I had it on like a 60-inch cable. Oh, okay. Because they are so wide here. Yep. But then I was able to keep the sleeves the same, and then that makes sense. And then they go to flat up at the top so that they make the shoulder. And stuff. But this sweater gets worn a lot. If it's not worn by me, it's worn by Jason in the house. So.
Yeah, you said you wore it on the shop hop.
Yeah, I wore it on the shop hop. So. Yeah, people really noticed this sweater. They didn't notice the sweater that I wore the day before at all. Yeah. But this year, they noticed. So. Yeah.
I didn't go on the shop hop with them this year because I was in Colorado teaching at Yarn Fest again. Next year, Yarn Fest is a weekend later. Oh. And if they move shop hop, I'm going to be so mad. Yeah. But next year, shop hop or the Yarn Fest moved. They're going to add another event. And I was looking at the calendar for next year. I don't know. I think they sent me something, so I was looking, but I thought, oh, it's not going to be the same weekend. That'll be great.
Yeah. No.
This is the Bille pullover by Sari Nordlund. It was originally done in this white, so I'm going to just show you briefly here. And when Matt saw somebody else knit it.
Yeah, I saw another guy that I follow on Instagram knit it. And I was like, oh, I just need to have that. Yeah. So it's all sorts of honeycomb cable on the front and on the back. It's the same on the back as it is on the front. You got some nice little cable detail here.
Yeah, several. Yeah.
Yep, 2 different cables, and then moss stitch all the way around.
And then we got some honeycomb on the sleeve that goes all the way up into the saddle shoulder.
Yeah, so this is knit as one piece.
Wow.
There is no seaming to it. I had to knit each of the sleeves individually. So that means twice as much for you to do because I couldn't knit them together. It has a nice little cable detail on the raglan too, which is really fun to knit.
Yeah.
Rolled collar. The yarn that I used was Premier's worsted just wool. It was like $6 a skein.
Wow.
So, and that's its regular price. If you go to Premier's website and you just search for the wool yarns, you'll find it there. It's like, I think it might be $4.99 now or $6.99. But yeah, I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to order some of that yarn just to see how it is.
I'll try to link it in the show notes. I just wrote a note.
Yeah, it's very much like Cascade. It's just a Highland wool spun in Peru. So I'm going to guess that they probably get their yarn from the same supplier.
Yeah.
But it does have a heathered texture to it. So
yeah, definitely. This one is another one that it leans raspberry, but it's got purple.
Yeah.
But the highlight parts are quite bright, like brighter than the purple. Yeah.
As we pick dog hair off of it because it's all over in my house now. But yeah, so this one here, it's the pattern is designed for female, but all that I did was add a little extra length to it. I did some additional decreases on the sleeve because it's still a pretty wide cuff on it, but I also end up rolling up the sleeves a little bit anyways, so I don't really mind that part.
Yeah, because you were knitting it top down, so you could tell that you needed to do.
When I cast, well, it was a funny thing. So we were getting ready to go to sweater camp this year.
Yep.
And I opened up a bag and discovered that I had this sweater sitting in there. I didn't even remember casting it on, but I had cast it on that last year. I had forgotten.
We've all been there. If you have not been there, you haven't been knitting long enough.
Yeah, so
you will be there someday. You open a bag and you're like, "What is this?"
Yeah, so I thought to myself, well, I might as well just bring this with and try to finish it. I only had sleeves to finish, so I got the sleeves done.
Wow.
And yeah, now it's done. So this one here, nobody has seen on the podcast because I didn't have it at the time.
But it has become one of your favorites.
Yes, it is. It's one of my favorites. It's almost like, so this honeycomb texture has holes in it where you cross your cables. There's a gap that's made in it. So it almost has like its own ventilation in it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel as warm as it should.
Yeah, when you're looking down from the top, you can kind of see just a little tiny bit. Not a hole. It's just, I mean, it is.
Yeah, it's just where they came. Yeah, where they came together.
Yeah.
So it was a fun knit. I would definitely recommend it. And one thing that I've found is that I shouldn't be afraid to use a woman's pattern if I like the cable. There are ways to just modify it to make it fit me. So.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot more female sweater patterns than there are male sweater patterns out there in the world. Yeah. So sometimes we just got to steal.
Yep.
This one here, so now we're into colorwork land.
Yep.
Because I've got two
he
favorites.
Brought his favorites.
When it comes to sweater knitting, it's either colorwork or it's cables. So this one here was one of my Rhinebeck sweaters the last time that we went. This is the Lachlan by Woodland. It's knit out of Berroco's, I think they call it pure wool, superwash. It's a superwash wool, but it's a newer version of what they had to offer.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's called Pure Wash. I could very well be wrong because it doesn't roll off the tongue like it should. But yeah, so this was a design done by West Yorkshire Spinners, because they have their line of heavy DK yarn. So I just substituted a lighter worsted weight.
But it turned out heavy.
Yeah, this superwash wool is really heavy. So it's a heavier sweater. We don't get to wear it that often. But I just loved the detail and how graphic it is at the top. Done in maroon and white.
Yeah, I'm going to hold up the original one in the blue because that's an interesting, because yours is so bright and I think this one is not quite as high contrast. So I like yours better because that is me too, but yeah.
And it has a rolled collar. So it's you basically knit a turtleneck and then roll it in.
Yeah, because it's very really long. Yep, very long.
super graphic, and it's something that I don't have a lot of in my sweater collection, because I do a lot of colorwork sweaters, but they're not so much muted, but they blend better together than this stark contrast.
Yeah.
So this was a fun one to knit. It's got the pattern goes all the way around the shoulders, around the back. So it's really interesting the way that the increases happen.
I was going to say.
The increases happen right down the center point here.
Yep. In the yoke, you always have to, when you do color work, you have to incorporate those increases so that they don't stand out as like these glitches in your knitting. So
yeah, so they integrated them very well. I remember on this sweater when I was knitting it, there was one row that I did the increases the wrong direction. I can't even tell it now. I was like, I'm gonna see that. I'm gonna see that. I don't see it.
Yeah.
But we all have those things where we tell ourselves it's gonna be seen, but not really.
Or we say you can't see it from a galloping horse.
Yes.
So move on. Okay. Colorwork number 2.
So this is Gretti, I think is how you pronounce it, by Jared Flood. This was my first colorwork sweater. So I loved it while I was knitting it. We were going to Vogue Knit Live here in Minneapolis. And I showed up with it finished to the point where all the ends were still hanging in the back of it. But nobody could see it, so...
So you wore it that way.
So I wore it that way.
Did you fall in love with colorwork right away?
Yes.
Yes, me too.
There is something magical about just shifting.
I know, colors.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's more contrasty on the screen than it is in person.
Yes, yeah. Because this looks white, but it's really cream. It's a little creamier.
And this pops out so much better on the screen.
Yeah, this is more of a light.
But this was Plymouth Galway.
Oh, okay.
Which is another very inexpensive yarn to buy. Beautiful. It's the heathered colors. I remember buying this at Unwind, and the owner Barb helping me pick out the colors that I was going to choose. So that store, unfortunately, is no longer in
we've
business.
Lost several.
But we've also gained several.
We've got several new ones, So I'm teaching tomorrow at one that I've never taught at before, and so that'll be fun.
Yeah, so it has just a simple rolled neckline. Jared Flood seems to really like the rolled neckline. He did the same thing on his cobblestone sweater.
Yeah, I think for men, that's probably gendered, but that they don't like things around their neck, right? Yeah. Like there are men that would say, I don't like anything up around my neck. Yeah. And so a little bit more open. Yeah, and it fits like a collared shirt really well. Simple top-down construction. The increases are, you can see them when you look up close, but you can't see them any other time, but they're just integrated right into the pattern. Yeah. So it's just ingenious the way that he figured out where to put the increases in where it wouldn't affect the look of the sweater. And then, just simple sleeves. Yep. Knit down, sew and bind off. Oh, I remember this was a miserable thing to do. It was the Kitchener bind off. Oh. And I don't like Kitchener in the first place. So now I found out different ways around it. A lot of different designers have new little techniques to do it. Makes it so much easier. But nice dark blue on the bottom, contrast on the top. Yeah. Such a fun knit. Could knit this over and over again in different colors and it would look like a different sweater. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You could knit it in a white down here and have all the colors up here. That would be you. Or orange down here. Yeah. And all the colors still up here.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. All right. We'll move on. Now we're on to Riddari by, I can't even pronounce the person's name. Icelandic knitter. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful work. This one here. So Ray from Needles at the Ready was the one who inspired me to knit this because he had knit one. And it's like, I just need to have one. I might have 2 or 3 when it's all said and done. Yeah. But this is done out of Lopi. And There's a funny story with this one because we were sitting at Darn It Anyway.
As soon as you said funny, I was like, I know what. Yep.
I can't count, evidently, or I didn't notice that my yoke was twice as long as it should be. Because the printout that I had, my ink wasn't doing the best, so it missed an increase, this is bottom up, so it missed a decrease. And so I'm just knitting and knitting and knitting and thinking, oh, when's it gonna end? When's it gonna end? And then we realized that it was way too long.
Yeah, it didn't go in, so you just missed it, so it wasn't shaping right.
Yep.
Oh,
so
I ripped and ripped.
I had, everybody at the knitting. It was
we all sat there and
Stacy.
And we pulled, and we each had a ball or something. Yeah.
And unwound it for me. But then it didn't take me long. This part here, once you get into the color work,
because you knit way too much, right? So then when you redo it, you're knitting much less. Yeah.
Yeah, and this takes like maybe 2 nights worth of work. You got the slog of knitting the body, and then you get to this, the sleeves, and it just goes so quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always get compliments about this because I'll wear this to work over my work t-shirt and just use it as like a coat.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of wear, and it's lopey, so it's got the fuzz on it already, so the dog hair just blends right in. But yeah, it was such a fun knit, and for a colorwork sweater, this was a really fun one to do because there are a couple of times when you're holding 3 different colors.
Yeah.
But it's only for a row or 2 at a time. So once you get figuring out where you're going to sit the one ball in the mix, it just goes by super quick.
That's what's happening on my Here Comes the Sun sweater now that I'm going to show in the other podcast. But there are several rows with 3 colors, and carrying all that in fingering weight and not having it show through, I was really struggling on a couple of the rows to just get the floats to look right and stuff. But I didn't find it much harder. It's just a slower row.
Yeah.
You know, it's not harder. It's just a slower row because I was catching.
You got to juggle
floats. Yeah. So.
And I don't catch floats when
I do
not
these. In this. But I'm using superwash fingering.
Yeah.
So, that is, And some of them are extremely long.
Yeah.
10, 12, 15 stitches. There was, I wasn't going to not catch it because it would never felt in on the back. So, on
this'll felt.
That, right? Like all those floats on the inside, because this is such, rustic yarn, they'll stick to each other over time. It is kind of a felting technique, but they'll just rub up against each other and stick, whereas I'm not knitting with a woolly wool for this summer short sleeve sweater, right? I'm knitting with fingering superwash, and so I love a good non superwash wool, not just because it just feels good for me. I like to and superwash, when I dry it, I have to throw it in the dryer because it does expand so much. It does. And it's something that you can count on. And you can't always count on that factor when you're dealing with the woolly wools. Sometimes it'll grow, sometimes it won't. I knit a Brooklyn tweed colorwork sweater for myself and ended up giving it to my father, who bench presses 500 pounds, because it grew so much that it fit his chest then. So yeah, it's just sometimes Brooklyn tweed, the shelter, I was really surprised at how much it grew, considering the fact that they're all milled at Harrisville and stuff. But there's just something about that even in my swatch, I couldn't get that much of a growth in it in the swatch to see that that's what it was going to do. So do you think you would have needed to knit it at a much tighter gauge, or gone down an entire size?
Gone down in at least an entire size if I would have known that it was going to grow as much as it did.
Okay.
But, my dad finally got his sweater. Yeah. It was an accident for me, but he got his sweater. All right. So last sweater.
Yeah. Colorwork number 4.
Yeah, this is the Weekender, not the Weekender.
Throwback.
The Throwover. Throwover. We did it as a knit along for our sweater camp. So this is actually the second one that I knit, because the first one was too small.
That hasn't happened to you in a long time.
Not in a long time. So,
but this is also written for women.
Yes.
And so you would have had to adjust.
Yeah. So I adjusted the second time. But I knit it twice completely.
I'm knitting my body twice because my body was way too big. I cast on too many stitches at the underarm.
Oh, yeah.
Which I tend to cast on more because of my bust.
Yeah.
And I was going around and I'm like, this, and so I put it on a cord and I was like, this is way too wide, right? It was just going to be.
So did you need that extra skein?
I don't know, because I ripped it all back and now I'm re-knitting, and I have been designing like a mad woman for 2 months. And so I just brought it to knitting on Wednesday and knit some rows. I don't know if I'll need it or not.
Yeah.
Probably,
yeah. But so we knit it for our knit group. Renee, our friend Renee, had proposed, let's do knit together. And
she had knit hers, and then she said,
yes,
let's wear them at sweater camp.
So we had to knit them.
Sarah didn't have one. Ginny had knit one.
Yep.
You didn't have one.
No.
Mary Yesvik didn't have one.
No.
So Renee was the only one
who had a finished one.
Had one, and then she knit another one.
Yeah.
And her second one is gorgeous. So pretty.
Yeah, so this is done out of Lamb's Pride. They're worsted. I had picked it up at a yarn closing sale, so a yarn store closing sale. So amazingly, I had enough skeins of yarn to knit 2 sweaters.
Oh my gosh. So you didn't rip out the first one?
No, it's still sitting on my sewing table.
Can someone wear it?
I'm going to see if my nephew can.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, see if we can get it out there in the world.
Well, he was just there.
I know, and I completely forgot.
I was like, Matt, you just had him down.
He is actually
taller
taller than me now. So, and I'm 6'1", and he is, they're thinking that he's going to be around 6'5". I'm not sure if he'll be able to wear it. And if that's the case, then we'll put it up for sale.
Yeah. So this is similar, though, to that olivey brown I was talking about when we were in the yarn store, and I said, I don't think you have any. This is a little more brown, but that one had a little more green in it. But up close, this is kind of that olivey brown color that we saw in the yarn store today.
Yeah, this yarn was so old that it was before they balled their their worsted weight yarn. It was still in that. It was like the hank was just folded over and bound in a ball. So yeah, it's all Lamb's Pride, 3 different colors. I did decide to take this motif here and put it at the bottom of both the cuff and the waist, just to give it something else to do down there.
Because you can do this on the sleeves, right? That was an option in the pattern. Yep.
So I just wanted something simple and sweet down there. And I did finally do the tip that Cori had said before, which is put a little yarn.
A little piece of yarn in the back.
To tell you where your front and your back is. Because some of these sweaters, they're really hard. And some of them don't have any shaping at all. So they'll figure out their shaping once you wear it.
But I just hate standing there and looking. Even when I have shirt rows at the back neck. I look at the front, I look at the back, I look at the front. I'm like, okay, this is the front, right? I want to just take that away.
And just make it easy to put on. Yeah. But yeah, it was a fun knit. I knit most of it while I was in Hawaii. So, So I was sitting on the beach.
Matt got to take a 3-week trip to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And they had a wonderful time.
And we came back with COVID.
Yes.
Such a wonderful souvenir. But yeah, so it was an excellent trip. It was a really good reset for me. So it was nice.
And a whole bunch of family went, so you got to be with.
We got to be with family. We got to do all sorts of different things. We did a rafting. We did a tubing ride down an old sugarcane tunnel and stuff. There's just so much to do, but you get there and it's between 70 and 80 degrees in December, and it's humid, and your skin just feels so good. Like there was not a dry piece on any of us when we left. So it was an amazing boost for my skin tone. And
your mental health.
Yes, mental health for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, so now we'll just do one more, one thing that I've fallen in love with as a tool for knitting.
Oh, I might have to add this to the podcast going forward with friends about what their favorite tool is. Because I've used one of these for a long time, but you just got it.
I just got it. So this is a row counter by Twice Sheared Sheep. It is, they sell it flat or looped. I really like the looped because it keeps it really compact in there. But what it does is, I mean, it's, you'll see this is a cabled sweater.
Yeah, what are you making?
That I started. It's the Ashby sweater by Will Knits. It's a cabled cardigan. I bought it the day that the pattern was released because he had been teasing me for a while with his Instagram pictures. And I was like, oh, well, I must have that. So this is Harrisville Highland worsted. But it counts this repeat right here for me because this repeat is an 8-row repeat. This repeat is like 47 rows, 47 or 48. So what I want to count is this. So it's an 8-row repeat. So I use the 1 through 8 on these little hooks. They just slide right onto your needles. There's nothing to snag there. And it has a little puppy on it because I had to get the one with the dog on it. See? But yeah.
So as you come around, you just move up to the next number.
Yep.
Is it the row that when you get to it, are you changing to the next row?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. When I knit through and get to it, it gets onto the next row. And then I just flip it back and forth because I've got rows on the back and rows on the front since it's flat. And it works so nice.
Yep.
I haven't been able to find a counter that works. I tried the phone and I would hit it and then I would skip hitting it for like 12 rows and then I wouldn't know where I was at. But this helps you because it's also a stitch marker for this particular part of the repeat. That's where the moss stitch stops and the cable starts.
Yep. So
it's a wonderful little tool. You can order them on their website, but they're in a lot of different yarn stores.
Yeah, lots of Etsy sellers make them. And I had, my favorite one had loops that went around, bigger loops that went around. So it looked like a daisy, right? It had like, and I broke it. And the lady went out of business on Etsy and I contacted her. She wasn't making them anymore and asked her if she'd do another one. And she said, nope, sorry. And I loved that one. Now I have a couple of these, but if I were more of a jeweler maker, I'd go back and make that other one because that's the one I really loved. It never caught on anything. It was perfect.
I love it because there's a change in the pattern on the cables on 2 different rows. And if I miss it, I'm going to screw it up. So I just keep track of it with this thing and it's like magic.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I think it would just be called row counter.
Yeah.
On Twice Sheared Sheep.
And then she has the straight ones or the round ones, the circular ones. So
this is one of the bags that Matt made.
Yeah. Echinacea is the fabric color.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
We got these I made these for sweater camp.
Yep.
So everybody in our group got them. Except for Ginny. Ginny got the lumberjacks because that's what she wanted. So.
Well, I want to thank you so much.
Oh yeah.
Matt got me a wonderful birthday gift, and so I'm just excited to cast that on. He got me some beautiful yarn, so you'll be seeing that. But we just had a great day.
Yes.
We visited and chatted and sat and knit at lunch, and lunch was good.
Yep.
It was really quite good. We ate a Mexican, which I love, and so
I finished the baby sweater body.
Oh, you should show that. Well, thank heavens for giant IKEA bags because Matt has so much stuff to bring out here. He brought, I think we have 10 sweaters of his favorites. And I tell people to bring 5 to 10 of your favorite knits of all time. Yeah. And then now I asked him to grab this because he's making a little baby sweater.
Baby sweater. This is the Hyphen Sweater. I don't remember who designed it, but Cori will look it up.
I'll put it down in the,
it's just got a simple little slip stitch motif up here on the yoke. I finished the body of it today and we'll put on the sleeves. But I have somebody at work who is expecting a baby girl, so I was like, oh, now I'm gonna have to knit all the baby stuff. I have a sweater, a dress that I want to knit for her. Yeah, I don't know.
You saw Renee knitting it.
Yes, Renee was knitting it.
It's by Lisa Chemery.
And it's just so cute. And it's Malabrigo worsted out of their Anniversario color. There was a little pooling in the back there, but I actually kind of like it.
Yeah, no.
It's nobody's going to notice it.
No,
They're going to be
cute.
Noticing the baby.
And what has it taken you, a couple of days?
Yeah, I started it on Tuesday night and finished the body of it today.
Yeah,
so, yeah, it was a quick...
And you worked.
Yes. All 4 days I worked.
Yep.
Or 3 days. Yeah. It's a quick knit. It's addictive to know that you can knit a sweater in a week.
Yeah.
Something this tiny.
And the sleeves aren't super long, Renee said. Yeah,
so I've just got a little bit, and then I got to sew in the ends and find some very colorful buttons. It requires 3 buttons on it, so.
Here's a little girl wearing one. I'll just show it because I just brought it up.
I think mine's cuter.
Yeah, I like the variegated. Well, Renee did hers in variegated too, and it looked so. It
Archangel,
looked so cute.
I think it was.
Yeah, here's a little gray one. But I think that the colors in the slip stitches really pop in different colors. Yeah, I think you can see them a little better.
It is much darker in person than it is showing up on there. I wonder if we can get. Yeah, there we go. So you see those little slip stitches. Really simple pattern, but you know, I don't knit anything baby size.
Oh, here's someone made it in short sleeves.
So
for a larger
it goes
girl.
Up to it has a bunch of different sizes in it. This size I did the 12-month, just because I mean that baby is going to grow so fast.
Yeah. So it goes 3, 6, 12, 18, and then 2, 4, 6, 8-year-old.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got lots of nice sizes.
Yeah, it was just a quick knit. It's so far it's I just put on the second skein to just do the garter at the bottom, so everything else was done with just one skein. And if you went down a size and did the 8-month-old, you probably could get it out of one skein. Yeah, because literally it's just 3 rows. Yeah, at the bottom. So,
or if you knew you were running out, this sweater could be a little shorter.
Yeah, it could have been.
Like for a baby, wouldn't matter that much.
But I wanted it to be something that would last just a little longer.
Oh yeah,
and they can stuff her into it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah, now I just got to go knit the sleeves, and then I will be done. Yeah. And I will gift it away and knit on the other one, which is a self-striping yarn dress, because I need more self-striping yarn.
Oh, that is the cutest dress, though.
But yeah.
Renee took a picture of it today. I took a picture of the last time I was there, so you would have seen it if you watched the podcast. But it's fingering.
Yeah, but it's one skein. It won't take long.
I know.
It won't. It'll be a good time.
Yeah. Okay. I want to thank Matt so much for coming, and I'll be back recording in a little bit for the Patreon. So join me over there and go and make some comments to Matt, and he can go out and read those about all of his wonderful sweaters. So we'll say goodbye.
All right.